Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good co-host Reagan. Jimmy and Schmitty are having a boys' night out. I believe they're with Ben, who's also been on the podcast before. So I hope they're having fun. I always respect that a boys' night out. But in their place, we have Jacob. How's it going, Jacob?
It's going good. Happy to be here. I was just I was just checking out the scores from because the NCAA started.
Mm-hmm. This
Yeah,
isn't the
Notre Dame
prospect show,
lost
though.
today.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed about.
Yeah, I see Boston University played, and
Yeah,
I
Ryan
won't
Green.
spoil anything,
2
but
goals and an
oh,
assist.
never mind. Pierce just jumped. I was like,
Yeah.
we'll leave that for later. But yeah, Ryan Green looked pretty good.
No, let's talk about that because the Blackhawks suck. They lost 2 straight games on 2 back-to-back nights and got shut out. And this is the preseason.
Did they get shut out in both games?
Yeah, they lost to Detroit yesterday. They got shut out 3-0, and then they got shut out 3-0 to Minnesota today.
Brother, what the frick?
I mean, again, it's only preseason, but I think this is going to be an indicator of the season to come for the Blackhawks. But hey, as Kyle Davidson said back in March when he became GM, like, sign up, like, jump on the ride. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be worth it in the end. And
Yeah,
I feel like most Blackhawks fans, this is exactly what we want. I feel like we wanted to rebuild. We needed a new start instead of trying to make a good, an average team, a good team, and compete for the playoffs. We need this, but obviously the process. In theory, it sounds good, but like the whole process, 82 games of this, where you're probably not going to win even 30 games. It's going to be tough. They didn't even do that last year. Now it's going to be another year of this, but this is what they need, especially looking at the draft.
I think me and Empy could tell you the best. He's not here, so I will. When your team's tanking, it is simultaneously both the most fun to watch them because you get to laugh at some of the plays.
Oh, we've been doing that the past few years anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll remember it. It was I'm going to say like 8 years ago, it was the Sabres luge line where like they all turned at the same time and it looked like they were,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
hilarious.
they're like ice
God.
skating. Yeah.
And yeah, it,
like in the Olympic
it was
Games,
like the
yeah,
only
exactly.
good moment for like 2 months on that team.
They were just so bad, they were memeable. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Just, I don't care about the score. I'll really just cheer for like certain players and, hope you get a good pick.
Exactly.
And follow all of your prospects.
That's literally what I've been doing. I went to an I said this. I went to an Oil Kings Pats game. That was so much fun. Like there was maybe like I don't think there was even 10,000 people, but like just going there and like seeing a game live in person and it was so much fun, and I hope to do that more instead of watching the Blackhawks.
If the Winnipeg Ice ever come to Calgary, I'm definitely gonna hop.
Oh, the Ice! I was looking. I was planning ahead for like which games I should go to for the WHL. I'm pretty sure they have like a back-to-back in Edmonton, Winnipeg, and Edmonton, or it's like 2 games in 3 days. I'm definitely gonna see both of those.
Yeah, that sounds so much fun, man.
Yeah, but. What about the Sabres, Jacob? How are the Sabres doing in the preseason? I haven't been looking.
They went. I don't know if preseason's over. I think there's 6 games, but they're 3-1 so far. They haven't looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
Powers looked really good. Savoie looked pretty good. I mean, he's still got to work on a lot of stuff, so I don't mind him going back. I got no complaints really. It's going to be interesting to see who the goalies are because Comrie had a pretty meh game, but then again, I love the preseason because they sent a team to, I think it was Philly or somebody, with like almost all of their starters, and then the next game in Columbus they went, here's the AHL team, and it was brutal. They got absolutely shell shocked. But yeah, they've been okay. I'm not expecting a whole ton, but it'll be a good year to build. This is like the year. This is the year kind of after you think the rebuild is done. We're like, now you have the prospects and you have to hope they kind of develop and project. So it is what it is. You got a couple more years of pain before you get here, Pierce.
Oh yeah, even a couple more years is like putting it lightly. Like this team is not going to be good. Like just looking at the team for this year, like just looking at the goalies, like. Stalock last night, I'm pretty sure he played last night. He actually didn't play too bad against Detroit, which is promising. And again, it's kind of going to like, I'm not really cheering for the team. I'm cheering for the players more so. And like just seeing Alex Stalock getting to play a game and like looking not bad, even though if it's a preseason game and it doesn't mean anything. Like it was just good to see him playing and like I think he even had a quote where he said that at my age, I don't know how much like hockey I have left in me, but so just even seeing him, getting him the chance with the Blackhawks, I don't know how many games he's going to play because again, this is like both Mrazek and Stalock are injury-prone goalies, which I think the Blackhawks are probably going to pick a goalie off of waivers. But it's just you want to see stories like that from the Blackhawks end. Like Korchinski, from what I saw, he had a pretty rough game against the Minnesota Wild, and that's kind of expected. Again, like they're not. I don't think the Blackhawks want Korchinski to play, and I don't think Korchinski was necessarily thinking he was going to play or like even get that 9-game trial with the Blackhawks this year. He's definitely belongs in Seattle, where he's going to get more points, going to grow his offensive game even more, but also hopefully work to become a more well-rounded defenseman. And for everything I've seen, like he's been making smart plays. Like obviously, there's the times where he loses his position. Like on one of the goals against Minnesota, from what I saw, he just got outworked and like muscled by Ryan Hartman. And again, like it's not going to be perfect. Like there's going to be learning curves, especially with
18-year-old defenseman against men. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to see. Like for the most part, I thought Korchinski looked poised. Like he made some very smart plays. I even think he made some flashy plays, and you can't teach those kind of things. So if there was a night to cut him, because like we're starting to see a round of cuts for the Blackhawks. Like I think Allen got sent back to Prince Albert. Like Del Mastro went back.
Your favorite prospect?
Oh yes, my favorite prospect. I think Gavin Hayes got sent back to Flint. So like we're slowly starting to see the roster take shape, but then at the same time for the Blackhawks, like there's so many injuries. It feels like they're dropping like flies. Like Jake McCabe is out for a bit. Ian Mitchell had an injury. Boris Kachuk is now out. Like there's going to be
you saying Jake McCabe is hurt is not a surprise in the slightest.
Oh no. And God bless him. Like I feel like he got a bad rap last year, even though I thought he was perfectly fine. It was just more so the team around him. Like
he'll be a great defenseman. He just has such a hard time staying healthy.
Yeah.
It was Korchinski was the one who made the sexy stretch pass to Reichel, though, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
we talked about on the prospect show.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember if it was him or if it was a different defenseman.
No, it was Korchinski.
Listen, I think there was a stat because they talked about it with Lane Hudson or it was Zellweger, where they were like, so many defensemen don't make it, like don't play in their first or second year. That like, there's never been a second round defenseman play in his second year since like 2003 or something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to need time. Just don't freak out or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Does he even look at some of the top defensemen that have been drafted? Like, just look at Colorado, like Bowen Byram. It took him a couple of years to get into the NHL and play. It took Cale Makar. Cale Makar spent 2 years in college, and then Mort Seider spent 2 years. I think he spent
a year in college too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if like even look at Power and Luke Hughes, one was 1 year, one's going to take 2 years. So if the first picks are taking that long, pick 7, pick 32, they're going to take longer.
There's literally zero reason to rush Korchinski, but however, with all the injuries, I think Lucas Reichel could potentially make the team. I think they wanted him to play in Rockford and then like call him midway through the year, but at the same time they were saying don't like yo-yo him. Like if you call him up, keep him up for good. But I think there's a pretty good chance he makes it.
Yeah, I think there's a good case to be made though. Like the worst thing to do is the consistent yo-yo where he's up for 3 games, down for 5, up for 5. If he starts the season, give him like 10, 15 games, and if he struggles, send him back down for 10 or 15. Don't wait to see, he had one good game, bring him back up. You got to let him build on stuff. And if you've got similar systems in both your minors and in the NHL, he should at least learn what to do. And he's already a really good player, so I'm sure that won't be an issue. It's just about gelling with the team.
And that's what he did last year too. Like I still think the best course of action is for him to play in the AHL. But at the same time, like you just look at the lack of depth the Blackhawks have. Like he just on like skill and talent alone, he's at least a top 6 forward.
Yeah.
And if he does make the NHL team, you have to play him with skill players. You got to put him with a guy give him a chance with a guy like Patrick Kane or Max Domi or both for that matter.
I forgot Max Domi was a Blackhawk.
So was Andreas Athanasiou. Like they signed a couple of guys where it's like, oh, they're on the Blackhawks. Like Zach Johnson played a preseason game. Like I'm like.
Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, Colin Blackwell's on the team. Like they added like a few guys, not like anyone notable, but like,
there's also the case to be made too. because you're going into a rebuild, so you're going to be bad for a couple of years. The last thing you want to do is rush a guy up, kill his confidence, and then have him be there for 3 years when you suck. Because then when you start to be good, you've killed his confidence. He's kind of got that loser mentality now where it's like, okay, well, the season doesn't. And if it ever goes wrong when you're starting to win or like when you're ready to win, he's the first guy to jump ship. The Sabres saw that with Ristolainen, Reinhardt, and I know they've done really good. Well, not Ristolainen, but Reinhardt since leaving. But it's something about being on a team for so long through so many losing seasons that you just don't want to expose that to them right away if you can avoid it.
I feel like that's been one of the Blackhawks' like biggest weaknesses, like the last few years, is rushing prospects up from the AHL.
Yeah,
it's been so bad.
I know Pierce was telling me about Boakvist because you were on the prospect series. You were saying they should have drafted Dobson, but even if they rushed him, it probably would have been the same thing. So it's gonna take, and that's what took Buffalo a decade to really rebuild because they kept hiring the wrong people and kept trying to rush players and not drafting out of the first round. Their 2nd through 7th rounds sucks so bad, and they never gave them a chance. And then they traded them too quickly. Like you really have to have the right leadership or core in place to make the right decisions, make trades at the right time, make free agent signings. Don't see a bit of progress and then try to go from A to Z too quickly because it just kills it. And then you're going to be stuck there for another 5 years watching them rebuild again.
Definitely. And like just looking at the trades and the signs they made, like getting Mrazek and Stalock, like just you don't want to expose Arvid Soderblom to the NHL just yet, and that's why I still think they're going to get a third string goalie because like Mrazek and Stalock, both of them are not going to be healthy continuously at the same time for 82 games. It's just not going to happen looking at their track record, and you don't want to call up Arvid Soderblom and get his because I think he played a couple games last year and he just didn't look like he was NHL ready, but like he was one of the better AHL goalies last year.
Just let him cook in the AHL. I know one of them that was on waivers was Tokarski would be like the ideal.
I would love.
He can split time in the AHL. He can be the easy call up. There's so many things you could do. Getting a goalie like that, it would be honestly ideal. And like you were talking about, I think when they first signed, because now I'm thinking about it, with Domi, Athanasiou, even probably Colin Blackwell, if those guys are gone at the trade deadline, that's probably when you would want guys like Reichel.
I don't know about Colin Blackwell, but like
maybe not Blackwell,
Athanasiou, because Blackwell signed for 2 years, but like Athanasiou and Domi, those are the main.
They only got the 1 year, and Taves and Kane have the 1 year. That's probably when you would like to see prospects come up. The last 20 games, you tell them, listen, the season's over. Show us what you can do. Give them the most skilled players you have left and let them cook. And then send them down and hope your AHL team's in the playoffs and they get a nice deep run there. But just don't rush them. That's the last thing. You don't want to kill, especially with how good Reichel's looked. You don't want to take that out of the you don't want to make him worse.
Nope. And like on the defense too, there is going to be a lot of openings for the defense. Like I really think Alex Vlasic is going to make the team. He just looks so good, like that size and that skating and shutdown ability. I think he looked really solid with Seth Jones, and like that's a good learning stick for him. Like a good learning experience for him. Like obviously, I think the AHL would be best placed for him, but like there's a lot of left-handed defensemen like Isaac Phillips is still there. Like I don't know if he's necessarily going to make the team, but that's a guy who's probably going to play like top pairing minutes or at least top 4 minutes in Rockford. So one of those guys is going to have to come up and play. And I think Alex Vlasic is definitely
that guy.
He is that guy, pal.
He's that guy. Hey, listen, when you're 6'7", it doesn't hurt either. I know we like to clown on height sometimes, but it's easier to call up a 6'7" guy than a 5'11" or 5'10" guy.
Well, like the thing is, like you can't just call up a guy who's 6'7" just because he's 6'7". Like if he can skate and like defend, like that's when you want. And
plus, he's related to the other one, Mark Edwards.
Yeah,
I believe he's cousins.
They're cousins. Yeah. That is correct. That is hopefully.
So if he gets any of his defensive qualities, you're good.
That's like a quarter of that. Like that's
just don't sign him for 8 years at $8 million, please, for the love of God. We don't need that contract.
We already got that contract on the team. So
Hey, did Seth Jones have 40+ points last year? I
Yeah,
can't
he had
remember.
like 50-something
Okay.
points last year.
I could not remember for the life of me. I know he had a
just couldn't
better year.
score.
Yeah.
Like he had 5 goals, but I think he had like 40, almost
5
50
goals.
assists. Yeah.
Come on, man. You got to be like Kilmakar. If 20 or you're a bad defenseman.
And like I think Caleb Jones, like from what I saw, he had a shoulder injury. I don't know if it's like anything serious, but like a lot of injuries have happened with the Blackhawks. So there's gonna be spots open on that defense and forward.
It'll be a great time to rotate guys through and see, give them their 5 games, give them their 6 games, send them back down, tell them what to work on. There's nothing better for a prospect than being told, hey, if you improve by the end of the season, you'll be up, and next year there's a spot open for you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just that's what you look forward to, and then you follow the guys. You look as the season goes on. If the Hawks surprise people and they're not dead last, then you go, okay, who's pick 5 and kind of follow them. But if they're where they are or where they should be, you follow Mitchkov and Bedard and you see what they're doing.
Already
and you get
doing
hyped.
that, pal. Yeah.
And then
But
anytime anyone talks to you, just tell them how good Frank Nazar is. That's it.
Yeah, Frank Nazar has like an explosive year out of college. Like I still think he probably should take a couple years in college. Like if he just has an unbelievable season in college, and he wants to come over to Chicago, he wants to sign and get him over here and get him playing in the AHL and playing meaningful games.
And when you guys trade Kane for Matthew Knees, Topi Niemela first, you're cooking, baby. You're cooking.
That's what I like to hear. So kind of back to Caleb Jones. This is from our good friend of the show, Charlie Romeliotis. Luke Richardson didn't see what happened to Caleb Jones, but said he's being evaluated by doctors. He hopes it's just precautionary.
Nice. Yeah. Hopefully it's nothing bad.
Yeah.
And Caleb Jones, he's like kind of one of those guys where I don't know if it's make it. I thought he was okay last season. Like he had offensive glimpses, but wasn't great.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
He's the perfect guy to give like 2 years to right now, where he gets this year and next year, and then if he doesn't cut it, then you can start calling up younger guys to take his spot.
I think he's an RFA this year. That's why I feel. Yeah.
Even if you give him a 1-year deal next year or whatever, you still need players. You can't call up all your kids, so he's the perfect guy for now to at least play.
Mm-hmm.
But just pray that nothing goes wrong. You'll be in the Cup Finals in 3 years.
One person that's really impressed me in the Blackhawks training camp that I didn't really expect much of, or just didn't know too much about him, was like Cole Gutman. Like he's a smaller guy, but like he's a feisty MFer. And
Can you say the last name again? I didn't catch it.
Cole Gutman. He was actually a Tampa Bay draft pick. Like I think he was a 7th round pick. I forget. He played in college. I'm blanking on which one it was. University.
Really been impressed with him.
Sorry?
I've really been impressed with him so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6th round pick in 2017 for the Bolts.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, that's what he was captain of Denver. Like when they won the Frozen.
I don't know if he was.
Came back to me.
I'm not. It's just because usually it has like the C by there.
I thought he was the captain. I could be wrong.
He could be. Elite prospects could be just lying to me.
Elite prospects.
A little small boy though, 5'9". Good for him.
Yeah, he's a small boy, but he competes, and that's all that matters. Nice. And like he scored a few goals, like in like the prospect tournament. And I think he scored one in preseason. Like all the goals were like within close. Like that's again, I don't know if he's gonna do anything special, but that's a guy that you could have on the call list.
When your team's bad, those are the guys you don't pin your hopes on, but you want a feel good story. And seeing a 6th round pick at 23 years old, make the team and have a decent year, or, get a call up late in the year. That's the stuff you love to see. You know what? And I'm sure he won't be the only one that gets a chance, but you just root for guys like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about the Blackhawks camp. Like Samuel Savoy has been another shit disturber. Like they totally went for a type in the draft. I've just loved how pain in the ass he's been. I think he's gonna get sent back to Gatineau. That's where
very much like Andrew Shaw type players. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have like a couple of guys that are kind of like that. Polowinski kind of plays like that. I don't know if he has like the snarl that Samuel Savoy has, but they have like those guys that play with speed and kind of just a pain in the ass to play against. And
that's fair. Hey, listen again. never bad to have guys like that. Getting under people's skin is a very underrated quality.
And that's what the Blackhawks want. Like, at least for now, they want to be this fast team that's just a pain in the ass to play against. I think they'll get that. I don't know if they're gonna score. They're not barely gonna score any goals. And if you do see goals, it's mostly gonna be like Kane that's generating the offense. But I think to me, like, they're just like an overall better vibe from what there was last year. Obviously, there's not the off ice stuff that's bugging everyone, and there was just so much pressure I feel to win last year. Now there's just none of that. Like, players just feel more loose, and again, I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs, but they want to compete hard, and players still want to come to Chicago. Like, Alex Stalock signed a contract here. Like, Jack Johnson, after winning a cup, he could have retired or gone somewhere else better, but he chose Chicago. Like, Colin Blackwell signed for 2 years in Chicago. Same with Domi and Athanasiou. For a team, like, this is what you want out of a team. Like, things aren't going to be great, but you want to have people that want to be here, like Luke Richardson as the head coach as well, and that's really, again, all you can hope for. So that's all I have to say about the Blackhawks preseason.
Anyway, moving on to a much bigger topic. Why do mascots in the NHL all suck? God, there's like 3 mascots that are good, and Seattle followed the trend of trying to be edgy, and they suck.
I just want to say, I feel like a Kraken mascot could have been so goddamn cool.
God, you know how great that would have been? Release the Kraken and like the mascot runs out. God, but no, they picked the troll.
Or just drop him from the ceiling.
I was busy last night, so I wasn't even paying attention, and I saw it come across my Twitter feed, and I was like, what the hell is that?
Continually disappointed in NHL teams and their lack of creativity to do anything fun. Why did they look at all the great options and go, troll? Yes.
What's his name, by the way? It's Buoy the Troll.
Buoy?
Buoy. No,
Buoy.
not Buoy. Sorry, Buoy the Troll.
Buoy the Troll. God, just like
worse.
You look at some leagues and like they have like baseball is one of the most fun ones because they get involved so much, but like hockey mascots are almost
What's that
like
one with like
so
the baseball team in the minor with like the pickle as their mascot? And it's like,
God.
What is it, Dylan the Pickle?
I don't know. I don't know exactly, but it's so good. I know that there's some mascots, like I think it's the Phillies.
That's
whatever Philadelphia is. They got some good ones. And then there's like, oh God, yeah, we're the NHL. Our notable mascot is Gritty.
Yeah.
And even then he's hated.
That's what it is. It's Dylan the Pickle for the Portland Pirates. Or not the Portland Pirates.
That's so strange.
Portland Pirates?
Yeah, because like for like baseball.
No, the Portland Pickles.
God,
the Portland Pickles. I thought I saw Pirates. No, it's Pickles. It's probably explains why he's a pickle. But yeah, like I feel like if you lean into it, like what Philadelphia has done with Gritty, and just like go all out with it, like it's cool. But like the Kraken like tried to justify it. It's like, oh, it was like this monument of a I don't know. I don't even know. Like, at least embrace the weirdness.
They could have, if they wanted to do a monument, they could have done an alien because they have the Space Needle.
Right.
That would have been way cooler than a fucking troll. I don't know. Like, I know mascots are next to nothing when it comes to the overall of the sport, but like hockey just always seems like it's a step behind in the fun category where they're like, yeah, we got to be old school and have boring things. You're here to watch men fight each other, not to watch a mascot.
Yeah, I remember Vegas like had their mascot a few years ago. What is it, like Chance the lizard or what? That's the thing. I don't even know.
I thought he was a bee for a little bit, but I'm like, I don't think he's a bee, but he kind of looks like a bee.
I gotta look
and then
this
the
up.
Oilers like had their I think it was like Hunter, and it was just like this weird like I think like a lynx or something. And then I remember like Roberto Luongo just like quote tweeting. He said, "What the fuck is that?" And again,
what the fuck is this?
Which one are you looking at?
The Golden Knights.
Yeah, I know.
What is the Golden Knights mascot? It's not a dinosaur, not a gecko, or not a yellow version of the Thing. What is it? That's terrible. Just do a night. Come, please.
By the way,
Anyway.
this is Dylan.
Look how fucking cool that is.
That's awesome.
It's just out there, and it's memorable, and it's God. I can't with this boring ass sport, man. Speaking of,
chance.
what is that thing?
I don't know. Hey, then I'm gonna look up
I gotta see the Edmonton one.
The Oilers.
Yeah, I can't figure out what chance is. Listen, I'm looking at so many pictures, and I literally can't figure out what the fuck he is.
Bro, listen, like, I'm not gonna. The Leafs having the bear, okay, it's Canada. I kind of get it. There's some
there,
some resemblance, sure. The Sabres have a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, I get it. You know, a buffalo would have been way funnier because Buffalo, but whatever. I guess that's the Bills thing. But, like, dude, some of these... What is the Edmonton one? Is that like a lynx?
I think so, yeah.
What?
Maybe a mountain lion?
Yeah, mountain lion, something cat in the mountains.
God,
kind of thing.
dude, I just... They need to be more like a better sport, which is why we're going to talk about Pierce's favorite team. Not the Blackhawks, the Bengals.
Let's go! I feel like I couldn't even watch the game again. I was at the Pats Oil Kings game, but the Bengals won. But like the biggest story wasn't even that; it was freaking how they handled Tua.
Yeah,
you guys. I'm assuming you guys have to know more than I do because the previous game, like he got like what was it?
So the week before, or not really the week, the 4 days before on Sunday, Miami played Buffalo. Miami won, but the big story from that was Matt Milano pushed Tua after he threw the ball, and he fell back and hit his head hard off the ground. Got up and he stumbled, and he fell to the ground.
It almost looked like his knee gave out at first. You didn't see him hit his head.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh.
Yeah. And then you see that he hits his head, and you go, okay, that's probably a concussion, whatever. He gets tested. He comes back out. They claim it's a back injury. Okay, I'm not a doctor, but clearly I thought it was a concussion, but whatever.
That's a little
the decision to let him play 4 days later is beyond stupid, but it's sports, and people will do stupid things. And he got hit pretty hard, and he clearly has another concussion now. So he either had one or he's had 2 in 5 days, which is
either way not good.
Not ideal
for an up and coming star like Tua.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that came out afterwards, where he left the hospital early, he flew home, and he watched a movie on a small screen after being diagnosed with a concussion. And it's like, to anyone who's not had a concussion, those are like the things they tell you not to do. Don't look at a screen. Don't focus on a bright light. If you're a football player, it doesn't matter. Throw the ball.
I've had like
ball into touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah. Medical staffs in all sports suck. And to touch on that, I think it was J.J. Watt came out today and said it.
Oh my God! Yeah.
4 days ago, he had what was it?
He went to AFib.
Yeah, he went to AFib, and he got shocked back to life, and now he's playing football today. Totally normal sport, totally normal thing to happen. I as someone who played a lot of sports growing up, there was a point where you like to play through the pain. If you had a sore shoulder, you would still play. If you had a bum ankle, you would still play. If you had a concussion, you didn't touch the ice or the field because you didn't want to throw your life away. And of course, I was playing for fun, not for millions, but what's the point of having millions if you're going to be brain dead?
There's levels to this. Like, again, like, let's say it's like the Stanley Cup Final, Game 7. You have like a sore wrist or something. Obviously, you're going to play like that because that's an opportunity of the lifetime. But if you're like have an injury that could affect you for the rest of your life, not just for sports, but like interacting, like if you have a family, if you have children, and like your head, like you can't even play with your kids because like your head, like you have brain damage and stuff, like you gotta like take a look at things and be like, is this really worth it? Like, especially if it's just a regular season game and it's one of the first games and it doesn't, mean that much. And obviously football games are huge. Like there's only 16, 17, 18 of them per season per team. Like each win is very like it matters a lot, but again,
the
like,
difference
we're
between
not athletes. Like they're different than we are. Like we're not in their shoes. Like we're not in their mind. Like obviously it's different. Me sitting on the podcast isn't going to change anything, but like just from our perspectives, like there's it's crazy. Some like not just football players, like hockey players do it all the time. Like I feel like hockey's the most infamous
every sport has
like through the pain.
If you give the choice to the athlete, unless they are literally dead, and even then they'll be brought back to life, as we see today.
Remember Rich Peverly? He pretty much died on the bench. And
he died on the bench, came back, and when in the hospital, he asked if he could play. They are insane. What it takes to be a professional athlete, you're basically borderline mentally insane.
Yeah.
So they will go back out there. Sometimes you have to step in and tell them,
hey,
it's okay. We would like your health in the next couple of weeks or years, as opposed to winning this game today. But they're not going to do that because why would you care about another person's mental health or the health of their body when you can win a football game? My job's on the line. I'd get fired. I don't care about that Tua guy. Get out there. It's a vicious cycle, and it's not going to change until the league does something about it. And by league, I mean like all the leagues. They've taken steps in the right directions with can't hit in the head. You can't lead with your head and football hits and stuff like that. But it's not enough.
I feel like
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
And it's like a TikTok, like the night of the second time Tua got hit, of like a former NFL player. He goes, see, it's so easy to clear concussion protocol. Cause like ask questions like, oh, what day is it? You're an NFL player. You play on Sundays. So obviously,
what day is it? Sunday. Tua, you're playing the Thursday game. Oh shit.
There were times where like he'd be in concussion protocol. Like, well, it's Sunday, and I'm a football player. I'm a football player, and we play on Sunday, so it's got to be Sunday. It's like, oh, what day is it? What year is it? And like, who's the president? So it's like the most easy fucking questions.
It's speaking of injuries in the 201 especially, I am so disgusted with media.
Yeah.
They showed that hit like 50 times on the broadcast when it happened. And like, I just brought back memories of when Tavares got hit, and you could see him just
when they kept replaying that, I had to like
and they kept replaying it. And it's, I'm not going to lie.
Kept just like zooming in on him, and his hands are like up like this. I'm like, okay, should we not like just show the guy who's like that?
It's like watching McDavid's goal in 6 replays, and then Tua gets hit, and they're showing you 58 of them, and it's like, come on, man, this I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
Listen, as someone who cheers for another AFC East team, you don't wish injury on anybody. I want him to be healthy. I would like to beat Miami at full strength. It's much more fun that way. But he shouldn't play for a while. And I'm scared that next week, well, actually, I think they have a bye next week, but the week after, they're already talking about him playing. And it's like, dude, he's going to get hit once. Please, just don't do this.
And not like the NHL, like opposition are going to be deliberately like going, like trying to give him another concussion, but like it's in hockey. If someone has like a sore leg and it's like known, like they're going to go after you and like make a tough time on. Like it's not going to be easy for Tua. Like they're not going to just let him be like, oh, he's in concussion. We have to feel bad for him. We can't like hit him or anything. Like again, like it's the whole mentality. They don't care. They're just trying to win. There's not much regard for like human life when you're playing sport, really.
Football's so bad at it too, because think of all the stress in that game. You are Tua's lineman. He's had 2 concussions now. If a guy gets by you and hits him, well, how are you going to feel? Like if the guy dies on the field, how do you feel? Secondly, if you're the guy getting by the lineman and hitting him, do you ease up? Do you go through him as hard as you can? Like if you ease up and he makes a play, now it's your ass on the line. And if you're just a bench player, there's so much. And it's like you could literally brain damage this guy, and you've got to make the hit because it's your job. And you shouldn't be put in that situation, and neither should Tua. And it should just be as simple as that until he's perfectly healthy, he shouldn't be playing.
No, and that's where you go, Reagan. Yeah.
So kind of going off that. Sure, I guess we don't actually know if he was concussed Sunday. Because like, oh well, he's fine. But then like, let's say he did actually have like 2 concussions in 4 or 5 days. Like, not only is that enough to like end his season, end his career, that could literally kill him.
Yeah.
And like, you're telling me you care more about a fucking football game than someone's like actual life? Like, it's just mind-boggling.
It's I don't have
words. There's not really another way to describe it. Yeah.
You want to be able to justify it somehow and be like, well, clearly he's okay. It's just, it is what it is. This is leagues that are so toxic with that stuff where they will just force anyone to play. They tried to bring Lindros back. This is 30 years ago now when he got the Scott Stevens concussion. They tried to force him back. He said he didn't want to, and they traded him. And he was never the same after that. It's just, it's what they do. And it's disgusting to think that that's the sports we cheer for.
And then, you bring that up, like, he gets traded because he didn't want to play because of concussion. That just shows you, like, the lack of empathy that people around there, that when someone does actually have, like, the balls to speak up against, hey, this is wrong, it's like, no, we don't agree with that. You're supposed to fit in. No speaking out. You've been traded. Like, you know? And, like, you wonder, like, what is it going to take for like people to finally realize, like, again, like getting concussed in 2 days should be like could be enough alone to end your season, end your career, or end your life. Like, what is it going to take? It's just like, most importantly, you just hope that Tua's okay. And
it's going to take the NFL almost what happened to hockey with Crosby, where he was on the verge. If he had gone one more, he would never have played again. You're not going to. It's going to happen one time where a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Derrick Henry, you pick whatever star you want, is going to get one. They're going to come back early. They're going to get another one. And the threat of them never playing again is going to force the league into making changes. And until then, I just don't think it's going to happen.
And what's the thing we always, like that's always said about something bad things that happen in life? It's not that it happens, it's how it's handled after it's done happening, you know?
Yeah.
Like in a sport like football, a sport like hockey, like concussions unfortunately are going to happen, but like you have to make sure as like a staff, whether you're a staff or you're the head office or like just working at the NHL, it goes all the way to the top. You have to make sure that your players are being protected, whether it's your star player or not. If it's a fourth liner or some guy that just came out of the AHL and is playing in the NHL, everyone needs to be treated the same, you know, like if they're hurt, like you got to make sure that they get the proper treatment so that they can not only play, but also like live lives, especially if they have families, and they be able to play with their kids without having like brain damage and CT, you know?
Anyway, as much as I'd love to drown on it.
Yeah, as much as I would like to talk about brain damage.
Yeah, we should probably talk about some of the actual scores. So the Bengals are 2-2 now after starting 0-2. I'm sad. I'm happy for you. There was talks that they might have traded a safety to the Bills if they kept losing. So now I'm sad.
You're like, fuck again.
Jacob, if it helps at all, I'm a Bears fan. So
and they're 2-2 at least, but
somehow, somewhere.
Who did they beat last week?
What?
Who did they beat last week?
Houston.
Oh yeah, that's right. And
on the last second field goal. Like,
well, it's a win, and then he lost to the Giants.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It was an ugly game.
I don't blame you. For all the Chicago fans, as you've seen that we talked about the Blackhawks, Bears are 2-2.
All the Bears fans were so fucking excited that Velus Jones was finally getting to play today, and then it was not a good game for him, and that was his literally NFL debut.
That's
yeah. Rough. All he had to do was catch a punt, muffed it, let the Giants get the ball back, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" At that point, I was like, "I'm done. I'm
turning off the TV." I almost got close to that. So I'm a Buffalo fan. So the Bills are 3-1. They won today. It was 20-3 at one point, and I tweeted, the Bills aren't winning this game. Everything's going wrong or going right for Baltimore. It's just one of those games. Oh, Baltimore. Okay. And then they won 23-20. So defense, yay! But yeah, that's football talk. Most of it was about injuries and how stuff happens all the time. But
that's the thing with tough for the Bears right now is they're so banged up. Montgomery's out. Jalen Johnson's out.
God,
They're just beat up.
injuries. The Bills were missing their entire secondary last week against the Dolphins. That was not fun to watch, actually. That was like watching 4 chickens without their head cut off trying to cover
I caught the very end of that game, like after the Colts game and the Bears game, because I was watching both at once because I'm a Bears fan, but I live in Indy right now. My boyfriend's a big Colts fan, so I was like trying to watch like both games. And then we both caught the very end of the Dolphins game, and we're like,
"Oh, did you get to see the glorious butt punt?"
Yeah, that's
the best part.
That was when the Colts game cut to the Dolphins game.
That was the perfect cut.
He put off his butt. We're like,
the perfect cut. Oh God. Yeah. The only thing that I can't. The Eagles are 4-0. Can we please fix the NFL? Pierce, do you know where the Eagles are?
Are they not playing in Philadelphia right now?
Okay, good. I had to make sure that you.
What's the thing?
Well, they're 4-0. I just had to make sure you knew they were in Philly.
Oh, I'm like,
yeah.
I thought they were playing somewhere else, and I'm just like,
no, I was like, because I know you just started being a fan, so like I don't want to be like,
much of a noob, yeah.
Okay, good. They're 4-0. The world's coming to an end.
The friggin' Patriots almost beat the Packers today with their 3rd string quarterback.
Hey, he's the first rookie to throw a touchdown this year. That's pretty cool.
I was actually like genuinely upset they lost that game, but I also just have a very large hatred for the Packers.
What? No,
I wonder why.
Do you wonder why?
Yeah, so we talked about Ryan Green. Are there any other NCAA Chicago players?
I know Dominic James played, but it was like an exhibition game. I think he scored, but so technically it doesn't count.
I'm trying to think. Because
there's
none. They're like I'm trying to think of where the Buffalo prospects are because there's none on Michigan. I don't think there's any on Minnesota with Hoagland. Maybe not. Either way, keep your eyes open for Green. Where does Lewinsky play? Is he in the OHL?
He plays with Kingston.
Okay.
Next. Like
that's Shane Wright's team, right?
Yeah, and
Shane Wright, right?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Wright, do you think he makes Seattle?
I have no idea. I don't know how well he's doing in the preseason.
Pierce, you're the prospect guy. You're supposed.
I know, but I haven't. That's the thing. I've been paying like.
The only reason I bring it up is because we got another great Grant McKegg absolute banger.
Oh, Christ!
Where he said, "Yeah, Shane Wright's only had 1 point in 2 games, and he had a 30% Corsi," and then everyone went, "Actually, he had a 75%." You dumbass!
Oh my God!
He just came on here and lied.
I think he has to get at least a 9-game trial. I think. That's what
you think he would, but
yeah, Paul Lewinsky, I think he's in concussion protocol right now. Like I think he's fine. It's just he needs a bit, but I'm sure he'll go back to Kingston and have a breakout year there, or he should at least. That's the plan.
It'd be good. At this point, just let them go back to their juniors and let them cook a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Let them get in the kitchen and be the chef.
We're gonna get the Burger King tweet out. Send your players back to cook. They need to be in the kitchen.
The players belong in the kitchen. Yeah. Oh jeez.
Oh God.
Hey, the Blue Jays made the playoffs.
So did the Mariners. I think Schmidt's a Cubs fan, but he's talking about that he likes Seattle. So
that's because I think his brother lives in Seattle. And
something like that. I know he's a Kraken fan. So I hope to God he's not a whatever their football team is, a Seahawks fan. That is not something I want to watch right now.
Then they boo. They boo Russ.
I'm pretty sure they booed Russ.
Yeah, Russell.
And then that's embarrassing. Yeah. I say as a Sabres fan who booed Eichel, but completely different. He never won a championship.
Yeah. Again, there's levels to it. I feel if Eichel won a cup there or even made the playoffs, I feel like it'd be different. But at the same time, if he did that, I think he would still.
He also was only there for 5 years, and Russ was there for 10. It's a little different.
Wasn't Russ there for his entire career until?
I don't know how old he is. I think he's 36, 35.
I feel like he's always played in Seattle until this year.
I'm pretty sure he was drafted and played there. Football's really weird. Hockey's easy. everyone's drafted at 18. Football, you could be drafted whenever you just pick. You're like, hey, I'm in the draft this year. Pick me.
Yeah.
It's Pierce has left. That's a great picture, though, Pierce. I love that. Very classy.
Sorry, my brother just like ran into my room. I'm like, oh, I don't want to like dox him.
Don't want to dox my brother.
Yeah.
No, I respect that. So I think that was already. Is there any questions?
No, I think the only question
was mine.
Was from you, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we already talked about that.
We covered that. So
it was like, who was the biggest surprises from the prospect in training camp, and who was the worst player you saw?
I don't know about worst player, but definitely the best. The most I was most impressed with was probably Courtship.
Fair.
There's so much still there.
I guess I probably shouldn't have said worst, but probably like who was the most disappointing. Because there's some people you have like.
I haven't seen too much from Athanasi or Domia, but again, it's like.
Yeah, that's fair. I know from a Sabres standpoint, there's a lot of standouts. I could probably go on for an hour about that. But like,
go on for an hour.
I was really disappointed with Krebs. Like for like the couple games he's played, he's looked very meh. Makes one good pass and then kind of goes for a couple minutes. And from a guy you kind of you're hoping breaks out this year, that was a little disappointing. But other than that,
we'll trade.
Yeah, we'll trade him for Patrick Kane. No, I would cry. Please don't pick up Patrick Kane, Buffalo.
PK for another PK.
PK for PK. And then we'll bring PK Subban out of retirement, and it's great. We are great. God, I cannot wait to watch him be an analyst for wherever that ends up signing.
I hope PK Subban, like I know he already has plans to like do a podcast where he tells like stories around the NHL, like being in the locker room, and I'm pretty sure he did like games for ESPN, but like wherever he goes, he's gonna. I think we talked about me and Jimmy and Schmidt talked about on like a podcast when he did retire. Like he had such a big impact on the game. Like he was a good player for a while. Like he won a Norris. He was on the Canadian Olympic team and like influenced like this upcoming like generation of players to actually have some personality. Like we see it with Jack Hughes and Trevor Zegras, and there's like a couple other guys that like have underrated personalities as well, and it's just awesome. Nothing but great things to say about.
Speaking of Zegras, he got crushed.
Yeah,
absolutely leveled.
Thankfully, he's okay. I think I saw he was only day-to-day.
Yeah, he's only day-to-day, but still.
Yeah.
As someone who's a big proponent of watching people get absolutely leveled with clean hits, that was fun. I like that. That's why you don't skill.
I didn't see the hit. I just saw that.
It was one of those great hits where he cut around a guy, right into another guy, shoulder to chest. Just, no injuries, so you can laugh.
You see what happened with Urho Vakanainen? Thankfully, he's okay.
I didn't see the hit. I just heard that he got hurt, and he was.
Yeah, I think he took like a awkward hit into the boards, and they had to go to the hospital. But I think
he's been released. But
yeah.
Look at you in the group chat. Kamara is injury prone this year. Good for you, Schmidt. He couldn't be here though. No, I'm kidding. We love Dylan. He's the best.
He is, yeah. As someone who's met him in person, yeah. Anyways.
As someone who's talked to him, I don't know, at least more than once, he's pretty all right.
At least more than once.
He's pretty all right.
He's all right, yeah. Anyways, I don't know if you guys have anything else to add, or we can wrap this up.
No, I think you covered everything pretty well. Nothing's really happened in sports.
No.
Yet.
That's the thing. Like October is supposed to be like the month where all the sports start. Like football is underway. Like baseball is like getting close to the playoffs. But like hockey, it's just in that weird spot where it's like teams are figuring out their rosters. I feel like once we get to like the end of next week, like when we do the podcast next week, we're gonna do the season preview, and it's gonna be a lot more interesting because I feel like we really don't know where most of the rosters are right now. Whereas I feel next week will definitely be.
Once you know who's like actually on every roster, any surprises like that, you can kind of start to see there's stuff to talk about. You'll know exactly who's gone back to juniors or who's gone to the AHL. So for now, you're kind of just stuck.
You're just playing the waiting game.
Even with like basketball hasn't started, football.
You know what's funny? They're playing an NBA preseason game right here, like in Edmonton. Like I think it's Utah, and
Toronto. Yeah, I saw that.
That's weird. I should have bought tickets for the game. Whatever. it's not a big deal.
But like baseball right now is in that crappy spot where like most of the teams have clinched. They're just kind of finding where they're going to play. So there's not much to talk about. And even football, it's week 4. Who cares? You go 0-4 and still make the playoffs. It's not really anything to write home about yet. So I think in a couple weeks everything will start picking up and it'll be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, I think that's about her. Thank you, Reagan and Jacob, for jumping on. It's nice talking with y'all. If you haven't checked out Simplifying Scouting, check that out. Subscribe to our Substack. We got more shit on the way coming, more content, and we do the podcast with every Wednesday. Next Sunday when we do this podcast, the NHL podcast, we'll do a season preview. And that's all I have to say. So thank you all for tuning in. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform and enjoy.